Good morning, stamping friends. Actually, this is afternoon now, as I have been struggling trying to figure out what I learned all last month and the month before and the month before. So if you were here at 9:30 expecting my Facebook Live then, I'm sorry. It is now 2:50 and we will start this and hopefully be done in an hour or less. So what we're looking at today is our lovely Sea Life dies with a gorgeous, let me get them out here, with a gorgeous seahorse and our little fishies. And do you see them? Let me hold it up so you can see this lovely, lovely cutout of seaweed. And all these little things poke up to give it a 3D effect. It's amazing. And if you notice, we have two little fish going this way, two little fish going this way. That's because our die has one fish right side up, one fish upside down, so that you can get fish going either way with one cut. I'll tell you more in a minute. Let me introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. Hello, I'm Karen Decker. I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for nigh on 14 years and excited with all the fun products that we get every year and new catalogs and new minis, and it's just amazing how they just keep creating new and greater things each time. So I'm Karen Decker. I live in Castle Rock, and I'd love to have you join my team. We have a team of Karen crafters, and we have clubs where we get together and make cards like what you're going to see on this live and the next one. So welcome. Let me tell you one more thing Stampin' Up! Has. I'm going to switch you back here. Has two catalogs that are live right now. We have the annual catalog that started in May and goes through April of 2022, which has, let's see, 176 pages. Fabulous papers, amazing things. And then we have the mini catalog, which normally would have come out in July. That was the hopes, but there was some problems with shipping, so it came out in August. So it is now live, and we have amazing papers and stamps and everything you could want to make beautiful Christmas cards. And if you want people to make Christmas cards with, give me a holler and come on over to my house. We have Christmas Stamp-A-Stacks and clubs where we'll be making Christmas cards. And as soon as that fun, let me show you. They have a new thing with Stampin' Up! Called StampinUpKits.com. And there are people who collect elves and are saying, I want this kit. Well, it's not available yet. I keep checking. And as soon as it's available, I want to get orders, and I'll get several of them, and we will have a party with one of their new kits with these elves. The elves aren't in the regular catalog, but we'll have a party, and we'll put together the cards in this kit. So let's get started with today's card, which is a Sea Life die card. And we're going to make this gorgeous background paper using vellum and our inks. Well, not our inks, it's the inks, the alcohol inks within our Stampin' Right markers. In the catalog, this is in the annual catalog, on page 135, we have gorgeous, over here, we have gorgeous ombre specialty paper. And it is truly gorgeous, and I picked the blue one. I wish you could see the shimmer on that. There, baby. You could see the shimmer. It's just beautiful. And I cut our two fish out of that, and I cut the outside of the seahorse on that. And then I cut the seaweed out of this shimmer vellum. That's something you probably, I don't know that I can get it, but it's as if we have painted vellum with our little shimmer mist, but it just shimmers all on its own. Isn't it gorgeous? What do you think is behind here that looks just like fish scales, doesn't it? I thought this is amazing. I saw this card online, and she just had the blue seahorse, and of course she did the alcohol on vellum. Thank you very much for teaching us that. But it just needed more. And guess what? In our celebration brochure, which is current for August and September, with free products for each $50 or $100 order, we have this beautiful specialty paper with its shimmer. And lots of people now have been using it and coloring it with our blends. So you could take this specialty paper, and suddenly you have green glimmering paper to use. I can see this at Christmas. And that is in the celebration brochure, which has several products, also free with a $50 or free with a $100 order. So if you don't have catalogs and you don't have this yummy brochure, let me know and I will get it for you, or on my blog, which is stampilosopher.com. I have posted under the catalogs tab at the very top. You can click on each of these catalogs and get a PDF that shows everything. So that's another way to look at our catalogs, even if you're sitting on a beach in Maui and you're going, I got to get something ready for next club, and you don't have your catalogs with you. Who wants to take those on the plane? So you've got a PDF of it. Our hostess code is to be used for those who place orders that are under $150. I appreciate every order, and I'll send you a thank you for those orders. And if you use this hostess code, then all those little orders, 30 here, 40 there, 50 there, they add up. And our hostess this month is Cindy, and as she collects those orders, then she will be able to get the hostess free products herself. And we don't leave those just sitting on the table as we put in little orders for, gosh, I just have to have a little of this paper and a little of that paper, and it's just a little order. Use that hostess code. Now, if the order hits $150, then you get the Stampin' Rewards. So at $150, you wouldn't want to use this code. And at $150, you would get either three $50 items or one $100 item and one $50 item from Celebration. So lots of things going on this month. And our club. We had club the second Tuesday and the fourth Tuesdays of the month are when I typically have club, and then on the fourth one I have the Zoom meeting, and then on the first of the month we all sign up to do swaps. So if you want to swap with us, let us know that too. So on to the card. Enough advertising, right? Isn't it beautiful? There's just something to be said about that vellum. So how in the world do we do that? So let's get rid of all these little extras that I wanted to show you. Going to save those little fishies just because I might want a third one on that front. And you'll notice I've got a plastic over top of my table here, because when we use vellum, we're going to be using ink, and we're going to be using 91% alcohol. Very, very important that you not use the 70% or anything less. There's even a 99, but 91% is a great percentage for the alcohol, so that it evaporates quickly and spreads. So don't use your 72 or whatever it is that you can get. Use your 91%. Okay, so we're going to take and we're going to put a little alcohol. And you can see from Club, it looks like, oh my gosh, she's ruined her little bowl here, but I haven't, because a little bit of alcohol and a little bit of elbow grease, and all those will disappear. So we're going to get our vellum out of our kit. And what you want to do is scribble. Did anybody ever tell you, oh, don't scribble, make something nice? And you're going, but oh, let's call it a different name. Let's call it doodling. That might make it sound like we're being a little more intent or correct in what we're doing. So I've got light, 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 light. This is Light Night of Navy. I'm going to start with Light Night of Navy. And I'm going to scribble a little here, and a little here, and a little here, and a little here, and a little here. Maybe just a little here, and maybe just a little there. Okay. So that's Light Night of Navy. Then I am going to take Light Misty Moonlight, which, interestingly enough, Light Misty Moonlight on our vellum looks more purpley than it does blue. But in this instance, we like having that little bit of purple in there. So we're going to take some Misty Moonlight. And how about kind of right here in the middle? And maybe right here on an edge. Okay. So Light Night of Navy, Light Misty Moonlight. Then I'm going to take, this is Dark Shaded Spruce, because now I want some more definite color here. And you can see that on the card. I should bring that over here so you can see it on the card where we've got those a little bit more definite here. And you know, I think I counted 5 at one time, and then I just kind of go back in and fill it in. When we're all through, how about one more right there? And I think one between those two blues. What do you think? And then we're going to take the Dark Night of Navy and scribble away. Oops, I'm using the you can always tell which end you're using by the lines here. The light end is the thin point, and the thick is a thick point. And I don't want the thin, I want thick point. And I'll tell you, I did this in several different experiments. I did one where I was really careful and went very slow. And it looked like I had painted it. And it even looked, it was odd because it looked very painted. Okay, that's pretty good. What can we put? I think we need to put a little of the Light Night of Navy right here. Okay, so now we've got our scribbles, and this is going to turn into, well, they'll never look the same, but something similar to this. So now what we do is we want to take our alcohol, and we want to take one of our medium brushes. These are our watercolor brushes where you can fill this with water, and then you push on this and you get a little extra water in there. Well, I'm not filling this with alcohol. I am just going to dip this, you know, and it's got a sticky out. I don't want that messing with me where we've damaged one of the bristles somehow. So we're going to take this and we're going to dab. Now one of the techniques is to take a spritzer, and you could spritz this, but you'd need to do it in the sink, around the sink, or somewhere where you can keep it clean. So for everybody sitting around my table, dabbing was the best choice. So I did do one where I just colored just almost like I scribbled real slow, and I came out, it looked painted. I had lines everywhere. You don't want that. You're going to want these colors to run together. So start with one color. So I started with the purple. And we are dabbing, if you can see that. Dabbing, and then when I go over here, you know, I wipe it off on my little paper towel so that we don't have all the inks getting in there before I get some more alcohol. And I've got a lot of alcohol here, if you can see. So we are dabbing with more than just little amounts. Wipe it off, dab it on. It's Patty Bennett that taught me this. Showed me her seahorse on vellum, and I thought, oh, that is beautiful. I want to do that. Do you ever do that? I mean, it's like, whatever it takes to make that card, I want it. Thankfully, I already had these um, dies because I had a club member, thank you, Joe, who had made, she made a card with the fish that was just fabulous. And I said, oh, I really like that. I think I need these. So again, we're going to dab the blue. So one color at a time. I just got the blue and the green. As I said, one color at a time. I didn't do one color at a time. Do as I say, not as I do, okay? Okay. Different blues. Just want to fill up all that area. Ooh, now I did a great big blue here. This must be the part of the ocean that's stable and not getting lots of currents running through it. As I did this in practice, I took pictures of each of the ones that I scribbled on so that I could, at club, show people what I meant by scribble when I got to one that I really liked. So, and I didn't pull that up today, so who knows what we're going to get here. Oh, and you know what else I didn't do? Do as I say, not as I do. Is you always, you want a piece of copy paper under here. Because as those edges, do you see what my edge did? And I just saw that and I realized, oh, I didn't put my paper down. You want to put a piece of copy paper underneath because it's going to run to the edges and you want it to run and get out, see, like on here on the paper and not ball up on the edge of your beautiful artwork. Okay, I think I got all the blues. Let's go in and get our greens. Again, remember, we're dabbing. And not to worry, we're going to get these all running together here in a minute. Ooh. Because after you're finished dabbing, your next step is to blow. Now, some of my ladies had seen this technique online, and they used a straw. I had straws, and they could blow with a straw. I found that I liked watching my breath as I blew on it, because I could look sideways and I could see where the ink was going and where we were missing ink. Right now I can see that we really have an odd one here that didn't get much. And when you're all done, guess what? You need more of one or another color, go back, do it again. So I want to move this just a little, and I'm going to blow the ink because I want to get it off the edge like that. And this edge doesn't look like it got much alcohol. Let's put some there. So now blow that ink around as you see things that you want more or less. It'll help it to dry, but what I like is helping it get off the paper and onto this paper. And of course, we really ought to check and make sure we got all those areas. We don't want any that aren't. Ooh, do you like the way some of those are blowing out? I want this dark, dark blue to spread a little more. So I'm going to tap back in there and then blow, getting it to mix with the purple. And what's amazing is even after you think you're done and you put it aside to dry and you pick it back up going, oh, wow, that's really cool over here or over there. Now I see over here, it looks like I got my green all down one edge, probably before I switch. So I want to take, I think, the light Night of Navy, and I want to add a scribble in here to break it up. Put a scribble here and a scribble here. Then I'm going to go back with some dabbing and dab that. Pouncing, somebody said that would be a good word for it too, as we could call it pouncing. Now I've got the purple over here on this corner, but I think I kind of blew it away. So we're going to put the purple back. I think you could kind of go on forever, so we'd better call this good, huh? Let's pounce a little. See, there I went trying to paint it again. You don't want to paint it, you want to pounce it. And now you see I've got those blues mixing in with the greens on the side. And looks like our purple ran out, but we've got purple right there, so we don't want it to run out. So we're going to do some purple in there too. Soften that line up a bit. And get the green in between. Whoa, now I had a lot on that one. And it went flying. Let's blow it and see if we can blow it back where I want it. Oh, and then you get to see my head. Oh, how I'm a little embarrassing there. Sorry. Okay, let's finish blowing. I'll pull this up here so you don't see my head. All right. What do you think? If you look at it on plain white, oh, yes, yes. Then we have almost blue. The seahorse will go right there. I think that'll look really cool. So then there's one more step that's really fun. We're going to take our alcohol. We're going to get off all the ink that we've got, and we want just plain alcohol. Not a lot, so I'm going to knock that out. And then we're going to flick and wait till you see what this does. But when we, I think I'd better, you can use your blocks to hold those ends down too. So now I take my finger and this, and I go flick. And the closer you are, the bigger your dots. The farther away, the smaller the dots. And of course, the more alcohol, the bigger the dots. I like little dots to look like bubbles in the water. And Patty Bennett, when she was through doing this, she also took her marker and did the same thing. She took the cap off and she went like this to give it some extra dots. But I thought it was getting just perfect with these dots. and didn't want to make it too busy. So can you see how it comes out with those cool dots? And a lot different than the first one, which is just amazing. Every single one of these will be so totally different, depending on where you scribble, how much alcohol you use, how much you go back to try and fix. So it's pretty cool. Now we have a light setting on our sorry, I'm trying to think and talk at the same time. But let me show you on our heat tool, we have two settings. Number 2 is when you're doing your embossing ink and your dry embossing, you want to use that. Number 1 is what we would use to dry this vellum. Except what we all found out at club is by the time we blew on it, it was dry. So there's really, when I look, there might be a few little areas right there, but I don't think we need to do that. Something else, so you've got this. Now imagine this. You may prefer it very, very diffused, which would be if you took the back side. You'd have a diffused look here, or here you have the more dark look with the richer colors. Wow, I'm not sure. I used the dark one on this one. But now I'm looking at this one and thinking, I really like the diffused look. Oh, but then I like where this dark goes into the green and all. Nope, we're sticking with this. So we're going to stick with that. And now there's two things with vellum. You have a problem with vellum showing through on our regular glues. If you use our snail, if you use our Terran tape, the glue will show through on your vellum. Of course, we can make sure and put it under all these dark areas, which is what we do with many of ours, is we find some embellishment to cover up the glue. But in this case, we want the entire thing to glue down nicely. It's a little curled because we got it very, very wet to start with. So what we have in the catalog, and let's check what page that is. For those of you who were with me for the catalog launch, we made these bookmarks because I need bookmarks to, like right now, I want to know where my adhesives are. So I have organized this by cardstock and ink I go to look for first, designer series paper second, and embellishments third. You know, all the other things are nice, but they're not my go-tos. So I literally did a quick query based on what I look for first. And I have used this a dozen times because I don't memorize these. So we would want to go to adhesives, page 167. And then this is that pretty paper that we colored both with the blends on the top and the markers on the bottom so that they could see all the new in colors and the different way it looked depending on whether you had markers or blends. So don't miss my next catalog launch. You never know what'll happen. Okay, so on the page for adhesives, we have adhesive sheets. Their sheets are now 6 by 12. They used to be little bitty sheets. I still have some of those left over, so we were trying to use those up. They called them transfer sheets, transfer adhesive sheets. Now they're just calling them adhesive sheets, 6 by 12. And we cut those, and we have one here in your card kit that is the exact size of your vellum. So we're going to pull off one side and attach it to the vellum, and then pull off the other side and attach it to, this is the hard part, And I learned that if you do this, I learned that when I was teaching, and you do all those name tags and you have contact paper over it, you're trying to get the contact paper off. If I would roll the edge in my fingers, then I could usually get off the outer. Now, I'm going to stand up here because we all found out in the club that it is very sticky and not forgiving. So you want to be sure and get it straight. And for those who didn't get it straight, we said, no problem. We'll just have, because I only had a 1/16 of an inch of a reveal on the card. But if they got this a little crooked, we just cut off all the edges so that they had a 1/8 inch reveal. Worked pretty slim. Ta-da! It is now laying down. Did I get it perfect? Absolutely not. So we will bring in our little trimmer, which we love because it can actually go to teensy tiny bits and clean up those edges. So I just need to clean that edge and that edge. So let's do that right quick. Which I had children here and I probably put it away so that they wouldn't touch it. So I'm just going to use scissors. It's just a little tiny bit there. And I can see it because of the shiny. So a little there. And I don't think there's any sticky there. It was just there, just there. Okay. Then in your kits, or the kits that I sent out, I had cut one of the seahorses in that beautiful new diamond paper that's in the Celebration catalog, and one with the blue sparkly specialty paper. And before I cut this, you can't even tell on the back, but I took the 6x6 sheet and I covered it with Scotch tape, so that when I cut this out, all those little pieces that fell out, that we wanted to fall out over here, we didn't want to fall out here because we want it to be our background. So I just covered the 6x6 with Scotch tape, and then we could glue this one on top of this one. And you don't wind up losing an eye. Actually, one of them I did, and I said, you know, I could either try and paper piece that and put this back in and that back in, the few that fell out. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. But the other thing to know with these dies, these are called partial cut dies. They're called partial cut because there's a couple areas of our little guy right here, right here, right here, and right here. Those areas, you can see, let's see if you can see, they don't have a cut on them. Right here, here, and see here, they've purposely not cut these so that you can pop them up on paper. Like, let's find it in here, and I don't know that I'm explaining that very well. So this is the set that's in the catalog. And if you can see, this little fish has the same thing where it's a partial cut. And you cut him out of the white, but it's only partially cut out. And then you can kind of roll those up and put it on top of orange, and you have a totally different type of a die. And now the bundle is the Seascape bundle, and it comes with this stamp set. I'm here for you always. Thank you. Just thought you should know how wonderful you are. And in a font that touches my heart. I like it when fonts are easy to read. So just to note that that is not exactly what you're used to for dies. Okay. And now we've got Just Jade. We have Misty Moonlight. And we have a Misty Moonlight for the inside, which you have to be careful not to forget. And then with this, I had made I made several of these, so I cut a 3/4 inch of one of them to come on the inside on top of white, because the white just makes it pop, so that you would be bringing the same colors from the front to the inside. So let me see how fast I can do this. And my next step is to learn to edit videos so that when I'm doing this, I can hit fast forward and it'll go fast. Did you know that on YouTube, down in, I think it's the bottom right corner, you can actually edit and hit speed so that you can go faster? So that my talking gets really fast. It's already fast anyway, but it gets really, really, really fast. Now on the inside for the greeting, I loved Friends Are Like Seashells. You are unique and completely amazing. Because to me, that's what seahorses are. They are totally amazing and totally unique. And many of our friends are also. So we're going to take that, and we're going to take, instead of Just Jade, which is the base, I'm going to use Shaded Spruce. A little darker, a little richer, but will blend just fine. So I've got that You Are Unique and Completely Amazing. And I wish I'd switched to my cleaned up so that I could see that I was going to get it straight. I know, literally, I count the number of little 1/8 inch squares on each side when I'm using the grid sheet. I think I did pretty well. And then this is where I told you about the adhesive showing through. Now we have two things. We can either, those two little fish that I cut out, we can put them on our glue, or there is Vellum glue that's available at the office supply store. I use it to buy my snail, and I can get the vellum there too, so that we can use our vellum. We don't have to worry about it showing through. Oh, don't like that. It's kind of like a great big silicone pad, huh? And if we're smart, we close this right away so that we don't ruin the envelope or anything else. So, Just Jade for the base, Misty Moonlight, and then we have our white right here. And there's something, I don't know about you, but with me, if I start at the bottom, lining things up, I have a better time than when I start at the top, probably because I'm looking over like this. I don't know, but I can just do it better if I start at the bottom. And then in the kit, there's one little extra fishy that just needs to be swimming here so that we have three fish swimming around in here. So we're going to put him right here in the middle of all these bubbles. There's our little fish, glimmery as he is. But don't go away. You need one more thing for your little fish. I'm going to have to start making a list of supplies because we had the black marker out here. And it should be right here in this. Oh, there it is. It is. I have wonderful people who help me clean up, but then sometimes I can't find stuff. So now we're going to take our Stampin' Right journaler, and we're going to go down right in his eye. It just makes him alive. Don't do the whole area, because you want the white around it, but you want to have a little bit of an eye there. And when we pop up the ones on the front, it's kind of fun, because it looks like they are following you as you move, because we've popped them up on dimensionals. And then their eye seems to follow you as you move the card. It's really a little bit eerie. Here's our friendly fishes. Once again, we're lining that up with just a 1/16 of an inch. We're going to go up here. And then I just have much, much better luck there. All right, so there's that. We've got our middle. Not happy with how that paper curled. So maybe I should have used the heat gun to set it a little. I don't know. Let's see what happens when we... Oh, we don't need to do that. We've got double back adhesive tape. We just have to find an end that really wants to come up. Ho, ho, ho. And it does. Oh my gosh, that side's beautiful too. And... Oh, don't do that. I almost messed up too. The white makes it pop. You must put this on white. And again, it's exactly the right size in our kits without the reveal. So I made it kind of hard for my club members. Thankfully, we had our little trimmer close and we just trimmed off that extra and had an 1/8 inch of a reveal instead of a 1/16. But now it's not going anywhere and it's going to lay as flat as it can lay. Nice. Then this is going to glue on here, and I do want to cut off that little bit of an edge. So bear with me, please, as here, let's put these back so you can see these beauties. And then look at the card. I'll be right back after I... My grandsons are 3 years old and 4 years old, going on 4 and 5. So I put these things away because they would love to play with it, and I just really don't want them to. I love this trimmer because we can get little itsy bitsy. Can you see how that's just a little bit? And I can go on each edge and get just that little bit to make a nice clean edge. And not have any shiny vellum sticking out or anything, and we'll just have a little bit more of a reveal, of a border, I guess you'd call it, more than a reveal. And we're doing them all exactly the same. That's odd that that didn't cut. Okay. Thank you for your patience there. And we go back to our card, and now we get to decide how to decorate the front. Do I want my little guy here? Looking like he's blowing that big bubble there, huh? Or Do I want it this way? Ooh, I think I like that better because I like this green down here where we're going to have our green seaweed. And with the seaweed, I found the best thing to do, we tried poking it out to get these little things that are supposed to pop up, but I found that if I just rolled it with my fingernail, that made it pop up better. You don't need to do them all, just a few to, and what's sad is we know that the male will smash them back down, but in the meantime, we shall push some of them up, just for the fun of it, if nothing else. Isn't that cool? Let me show you this one. Do you see how those just are up so that it makes it look so cool in 3D? Okay, so now for this little guy, I took my Tombow glue. Woo. I see one that didn't poke out. We're going to take care of that while the Tombow glue. Always when you do your Tombow glue, I like to just sit and let it... Uh-oh, sorry, that's my little Ruger dog. He must be saying that my husband is home. I just hoped I'd have this done at 10:30 this morning, but I had a terrible time with I couldn't get the camera. I got a black screen, no camera. And then it was mirror image, so I had the camera upside down, or backwards, or whatever you'd call it. It was not fun. Anyway, I hope you're all hearing this well and able to follow me. So that's just a little more glue than I would like there. So I'm going to take it off with my finger, and then I'm going to put this little guy down right on here. Line him up perfectly. And amazingly, those things look like scales on a fish. I don't think it's intended that way, and some of the other cards are beautiful, and I don't think they look like scales on those cards, but somehow this one does. So we've got our seahorse, and then don't forget to take the small end of your journaler. That little guy needs an eye. So we're going to go in and make sure he gets a nice dark black eye. And then we're going to put some dimensionals here, there, and everywhere. Thank you for being with me today. And now, because we filled in all those, we put the tape on it, we can put several dimensionals and not have to worry about them showing, because we've got that gold paper for the background. I think my next order is going to have more gold paper. When I saw them, how they colored it with the greens and the reds, and they're making Christmas cards, this is, oh wow, just gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, so he's ready. We slice this off, so this is ready. So now we can glue this on. Ooh, that's nice, easy to glue on because it's so thick. And I actually kind of like a little greater edge on it with that more of the misty moonlight. So cutting that off worked really well. Now before we put this little guy on, we want to kind of see, we're going to put the seaweed down here. And you know how those seahorses always wrap their tail around something to hang on? So we want to kind of be positioning both at the same time. So this is going to go here. I want to scoot him in. But then he can go clear up there. And then I think he needs to tilt a little. I think that they always seem to be floating and tilting. Okay. And now we've got this. And one of my new favorite ways to get some glue on these is to take one of our sponges, put a little glue here, put a little glue on that sponge, and now hold this down tight because you cannot move it. When you pounce on it, pounce, must like that word, don't I? When we pounce on it, you don't want to move it, or you could wind up with glue everywhere that's on the front, and it'd stick in your envelope and nobody'd even be able to open it. Don't let that happen. Okay, so now we're going to put this down here where he can wrap his tail around it. And yet I want it right there at the bottom. Oops, sorry. Keep you on the right there at the bottom, so it looks like it's a scene where we've got this going back down into the ocean. Oops, I don't have near enough right there. Right there at the very bottom needs to be really nicely glued. And then we have just wanted to say, this comes from the mini messages in the catalog. You can punch out all those messages all at the same time, and all my ladies at club, they could choose. Do I want a birthday? Happy birthday they could put there. They could put anything they want there from the mini messages. All of the dimensions and the supplies that I used will be posted on stampilosopher.com after I do the next club card tomorrow morning. We're going to try that at 9:30 tomorrow morning and get that second card done. Ooh, you know, I want this below. I love that blue and purple right there together. So typically you position it like, is there something you want to hide? You position it there. Okay, so we're going to put that right there. Then somewhere in the kit, falling out of the envelope, I have that happen often, that we think we've lost them, and they're right there in the envelope. We're going to put these little fishies, and I think I'll pop those up. I've got little bitty, the mini dimensionals are awesome. Have you all just fell in love with those? Because now look, a little mini dimensional on that fish is absolutely perfect. And we're not trying to figure out how to hide it or whatever. And now I want him kind of coming amongst those seaweeds. I know. Pretty soon I'm going to name them, huh? My seahorse will be Shelly the seahorse, and then we'll have to name our little fishies. We're just a little crazy. Now these also have those things you could spend some time and pop up a little of his fins too, but I don't think we need to do that. I think he's made it through the seaweed and he's clear out here. But then this little guy has to have an eye. And this little guy has to have an eye. Now, I don't know if I can show you this. But now they've got eyes. And as you move it, it's as if the eye moves. He's looking up. He's looking down. Yes, we're a little crazy. Okay, and then our final embellishment is our little seahorses. Now I know those were here. Rhinestones. I used regular rhinestones. And see, now I get out all this other stuff and bury it under my gun and under this. A quick note, this is one of the ones I was practicing with the Vellum. And do you see what the scribble did here? It wasn't alcohol ink. And it was my dark Misty Moonlight that's supposed to be the purple. And it had these brown streaks in it. So I'll have to call Stampin' Up! Because basically you see something like that, it's defective. You've got a defective marker. So that went in the trash so none of us would accidentally use it. So that went in the trash. So we'll get our rhinestone basic jewels. We have all kinds of in-color jewels that would have matched. But I thought for bubbles just need to be rhinestones. So I took our quicker upper. It's called a take a pick tool, but we used to call it the quicker picker upper, and I just love that. And we're gonna put 1, 2, 3 bubbles. And then I have a treat for you. I want you to see something neat. See this card? Well, I don't think any card, I have trouble with these kind of cards because they just always go like this and fall. So I have found something. It's the biggest of the hippo dies. I glued 2 of them together, and then I glued them with tear and tape clear at the directly at the bottom. And now, when this stands up, it actually, the front is like free flopping. And you've got it on an easel, so it's not just falling. I used to just do little pieces of a little tiny strip of about a 1/2 inch cardstock, and I'd do a fold on one end and a fold on the other to hold these kind of cards up. And then I found the hippo dies. We've used it on one of the pansy cards, and I'm just loving it. So this one I did do 2 together because it's so heavy that I thought it needed 2. So that is the hippo dies. And again, those measurements will be on the blog. So there you have it. I'm not going to do that here on the, because that's kind of an optional thing. And you have our seahorse, Shelly or Stan or whoever, the seahorse. So thank you for joining me here today. I would love to have you subscribe. This will be posted on YouTube, and it'll be on my blog if you go to stampilosopher.com. Over on the right-hand side, there is a subscribe button where every time I do a post like this, then it will come directly to your email and it'll say new post from Stampilosopher. So that's how you can see what I'm doing. It hasn't been very frequent. It's typically twice a month. So I don't overwhelm you with postings. And it will be on YouTube as well. I've learned how to do that. So thank you for joining me. Let me switch over here and say goodbye. Sit down instead of, I found out standing up, I don't put my head in the screen. Anyway, it was wonderful to have you here today. I hope you've learned something about the vellum with alcohol ink technique and seen some of our beautiful new papers. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.